What's going on, y'all? Joe Johnston here from Speaker Scale, and I am here with my man Connor Powell. And yeah, let's just hop right in, Connor. Let me kind of turn things to you, and like we were chatting about, if you want to just kind of give a little overview, Connor, of like yourself, your work with, obviously Atia. You guys joined Speaker Scale about 6, 7 months ago now. So kind of where you guys were at when you joined, and then we'll get into sort of where you guys have transformed to. But yeah, let me turn things to you and. Yeah, give us kind of the lowdown of you and Atia and the whole operation over there.
Sure. My wife, Tia Bowie, and I have been working with Speaker Scale and Joe and Aaron for about 6 months now. Tia already had a pretty successful speaking business. I was doing a lot of the outreach to schools and organizations, but we'd sort of hit a plateau of how far we could go. And we both thought there was a lot more room for her to grow with her business. Um, and a lot of what we wanted when we first spoke to Joe was, how do we scale this? How do we expand Atia's speaking business? We were already doing a lot of the outreach, but we weren't doing it efficiently, and we weren't doing it so that we could grow the business. And I think one of the things that Joe said from the very beginning is, I'm going to show you not only how to expand and scale, but I'm going to show you how to do it efficiently. And we're going to show you how to build on the things you're already doing that are successful, but to expand those as well. And that's, I think more than anything, that's what Joe and Aaron and his team there have really delivered, which is we've gone from our bookings that were nice to expanding into growing Atia's speaking business in the last 6 months.
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah, and I know I remember that first couple conversations. It was like, hey, you had already mentioned like we're doing the work, we're putting in the time, we're putting in the energy. Like that wasn't the issue, right? It was more just and we're seeing some success. It was more just how do we tap into more markets? How do we market brand a tea in the right way and do that in the most efficient and scalable way possible? So um walk us through, if you could, Connor, I guess, then some of the activities you guys were doing. Like I know you were doing a lot of cold calling before and that kind of stuff to get gigs. And then through the process of working with us, obviously there is some stuff through email that we're still optimizing. There is some stuff, LinkedIn's been a great platform. So like what's been the biggest transition on that end in terms of activities to actually land gigs and get Atia more out there and more gigs?
Yeah, I had an email list, and I had a standard email that I was sending out, 30, 40, 50 emails a week to different schools, to different speaker organizations, event groups, and things like that. And, I was cutting and pasting manually, dropping them in, changing the language a little bit. And, on some weeks it was successful. I would get a couple meetings. Other weeks, if I didn't have the time to send out the emails, or I just had a patch of bad luck, I may not get any meetings out of those emails. And it was really, really inefficient. And I knew I needed to use LinkedIn, but I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing it properly. And I think, we've we've come up with a really good script for outreach via email. We've come up with a really good script via LinkedIn as well. But it's the LinkedIn that really, more than anything, has really helped us a lot. And it's funny because I knew kind of what to do on LinkedIn, but I didn't really know what to do. And I knew Atia needed to post. I knew she needed to engage. But she was a little reluctant. She didn't really want to do it. I've got her doing it 5 times a week. We're posting some type of content. Some of the content's better than others. Some days you hit a home run. Other days it's just content, but you're part of that algorithm. We're part of expanding. And my week starts on Sunday night. I basically I find the titles of the people: librarian, English teacher, DEI director, head of school, event planner, corporate event planner. I find those people on LinkedIn. I hit them with a little, 200 character introductory message from Atia, from us, basically introducing who Atia is. And I pound those out until LinkedIn says on Sunday night, you can't connect anymore. And everyone who connects with Atia accepts their connection. I have a follow-up email basically saying, hey, we want to talk about events. Are you the right person? If not, can you show us who the right person is? And we get a ton of great meetings because people are like, well, I'm not the right person, but you really ought to speak and reach out to this person. Well, now we know exactly who they are. We have an introduction. We have a connection. And sometimes we have the right person, and we just, we book meetings from that. And it really does start with Sunday night. I just send out those emails. And then throughout the week, I'm responding to people who are connecting with Atia on LinkedIn. We're posting content, so we're in front of them. We're liking her content. We're getting other people to like her content. We're starting to see some interaction with the people who are now following her from these different organizations and schools. And so you are starting to build this little sort of ecosystem where the more you do, the more opportunities you have. And I think, Joe, one of the things you said to me was you just got to stuff that pipeline with as many opportunities as you can. And we've had some great opportunities that just didn't materialize after lots of meetings and proposals and stuff like that because budgets weren't there or timing wasn't right. But the whole process was really valuable for that individual client that maybe falls through. But the overall process of jamming that pipeline with as many opportunities so that if some fall apart and fall through the wayside, it's not a big deal because I know I got 3 more meetings down the line. They're the right clients, they're the right targets, the right people. And I always know that if the person who fell through today doesn't come through, I know in 6 months I can go back to them.
Yep. It's huge, man. And like there's, it is frustrating when you go through that process. I'm in a couple now, right? And I've even had a couple deals just recently that have fallen through and ones that are like right on the line that you've been working for months. And inevitably it's a numbers game, and a certain amount of those for oftentimes, factors outside of our control, Connor, will not come through. But, and, we were looking at this last week. It was like, my goodness, like you guys had this deal's out. We're just waiting contract. This deal's out. We're waiting contract. We have these 5 others that, are kind of right there at like that 40 to 60% mark. These ones are at like the 20% mark. And there's so much, I think, confidence and conviction and security that comes inside of business when you not only have a pretty full pipeline right now, but you also have the Sunday activities, the weekly activities that are consistently producing new activities, new warm leads, and new opportunities into that pipeline. Because again, it is a numbers game, and we can't be closing everything at 100% as much as we'd love to.
Right.
But as long as there's a way to processes that you guys can work, Atia posting content, you reaching out to folks, following up with them, stuffing the pipeline. And then to your point again, Connor, hey, it doesn't work this time. That's fine. Hey, when does it make sense for us to reach back out? 3, 6 months? Cool. We'll try it again in 3 to 6 months. And you're building those relationships, and everything just starts to stack and compound on top of itself. So I love it. Has there been any improvement in Atia's, I don't know if I'd say quality of gigs and leads and opportunities that you guys are getting, but also like price point? Have you guys seen any kind of increase in that as you've built a brand, as you've even had more opportunities, maybe you feeling more comfortable with certain organizations like charging and quoting more? How has kind of like the sales process and I guess the quality and obviously the quantity of the opportunities have gone up, but what's like kind of the quality look like? And has Tia been able to raise her price at all, or how has that been over the past couple months?
Yeah, so 2 things have happened. One is we're way more efficient. So I can get Atia to hop on a call. She knows exactly the points we want to hit. I know exactly the points because we've had more meetings, right? We're having every week we're having more meetings, and I can get proposals out quicker because I already have the language now developed where I can put together a proposal, and I can get on a call and I can know, okay, you want this, this, and this, and I can put it together. And what it means is that I can offer more things because we've thought through this process now. Okay, this is one thing that Tia talks on. This is another. This is another. I can offer you these 4 choices. So not only have we, I think, come to a better understanding of what her price point is, but we've also been able to have a better idea of how to build out proposals that aren't just for one speech, but for a lot of different topics and speeches. And so instead of doing like one day or one speech, we've built out the process where it's like, okay, we can get a couple different events out of this one organization now. And I can turn that proposal and get it out, within a couple of hours. And then I can follow up within a couple of days. And I think building out these processes, getting more efficient on our end, but knowing also like when somebody says they want this, I already have it written out. I already know what I want to say and respond. I don't have to think it through. Atiana, I don't have to sort of sit down and be like, okay, well, what do we want to do? We already have it pre-planned. And so we can get more proposals out, but our proposals are better than they were 6 months ago as well, because I think we hear our clients a little bit better because we have a better sense of what we were trying to get across, but also we have a better sense of when they say this, oh, they really want this, and we have this all ready to go.
Yeah, and he is the perfect person to solve that because of X, Y, and Z. And then you guys have all the data, you have all the marketing materials to kind of back it up. You have the testimonials, you have the other clients that can speak to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's
So
that message to market fit is huge. What were you gonna say?
yeah, and it's not just a matter of like raising prices and getting the price higher. I think like we're able to offer a larger package as
Mm.
well. I think that's part of it, right? Is like your price point is your price point for a speech, and it's always negotiable. Some schools, some organizations, some businesses can do more, some can do less. That's always a little bit negotiable. But like if you can do 2 days instead of one, your price point is higher because it's just more, right? And
Yeah.
and and that's and getting proposals out quicker, getting them out where they're more targeted. I think that really has helped us get not just a slight, a higher price point, but also a better price point, more robust events sort of planning.
Yeah, you notice it's almost a subtle difference too, but you notice the difference in like the sales conversations where you can see, like I say all the time, Connor, it's like there's a intangible factor that goes when you're like not just a speaker, but when you become a professional speaker. And
Yeah,
professional speakers are like what you said, Connor. It's not just obviously being good on stage and that stuff. It's like you know how to speak meeting planners' languages, and you've had
right.
hundreds of these conversations before, and Atia and you and the team have seen this before in different schools and different organizations, and meeting planners can feel that, and that buyers can feel that, and that like conviction of and that certainty and that trust factor just raises because of the oh got it yeah look 100% understand what you're doing. We actually did the same thing with XYZ school. What we would recommend and what we've seen work best is this, and then you can give them this offering that's like oh yeah that 100% makes sense, and then that's going to
Well,
lead to higher closes, right?
yeah, I just had a perfect example today. There's somebody we did a proposal for. We're talking about a multi-day gig, and one of the topics they want to discuss is a little controversial, a little bit, you got to sort of do your due diligence on it. And they said, do you have any client testimonials? Now, 6 months ago, I didn't have client testimonials. Now I do, and I have them all in one place. And I immediately was able to cut and paste, drop that in. And she's like, "Oh, thanks. Thanks for getting me this so quickly." And she's like, and now she's firing that off to the people who had concerns. And then she came back and she said, "Do you mind putting me in touch with the people in this testimonial?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can check real quick if they're available." Um, Everything that I can anticipate what event planners are going to ask for, and I have that already. And now I don't have to write things up. I don't have to dig and check and oh, who is that person? And it's all right at my fingertips. And using the sort of tracking software with CRMs also gives me a sort of a sense of okay, like this is probably going to close in this period of time. This is going to close in that period of time. Like I can sort of estimate out what the next 6 to 9 months look like now as well. And so I really, I'm in a better position to manage Atia's schedule, her events, her meetings, and everything than I was. Today I'm in a better position than I was like 6 months ago.
I love it. Talk to us about that. We'll kind of wrap up with that. I guess, over the past 6 months, and obviously a lot of this stuff you probably would have gotten on your own, but how much, so a couple questions. How much new revenue, speaking revenue, would you say you guys have been able to produce through some of the work that we've been able to help you guys implement? And then if you could give us just like a snapshot of where the speaking business is now in terms of like, I know Atia's calendar is starting to, fill up. How many net new meetings are you booking a week? That's a big thing. And what does things kind of look like going forward for you guys as you continue to move along this journey over the next couple months?
Yeah, I would say, pre-working with you, Atia was doing almost exclusively, not only, but almost exclusively high schools, sort of independent private high schools. We hadn't really broken into the college market. We hadn't really started doing businesses. We've now added those to her speaking schedule. What that means is a couple of things. The school schedule for high schools is really only about 8 months long, right? So now we've got events in August. We were hoping to have an event in July. It fell through, but that's okay. And now we're looking at events in the first week in January. Where the schools aren't normally doing things. We have events in the summer and stuff like that. So our calendar is larger now because we've expanded the sort of base of organizations to reach out to. but also, we're able to hit and to talk to a lot more different organizations and offer different things within organizations as well. And I think that's really helpful. But yeah, we're really, I think we've expanded into some places that we hadn't reached out to before, not only because of LinkedIn, but also because of the email campaign. And that, that's been really, really helpful. And I think, I think her best year was 2 years ago. She had done about 10 different events, over the course of about 8 months. We're easily going to be able to do that, just probably in the first like 4 or 5, or sorry, in the last like 4 or 5 months of this year. So I think we're growing the number of events she can do. The proposals are tighter, so I think we're getting a better spend, revenue that's coming in. Um, off the top of my head, like we've easily added $30,000 to $40,000 of what she had been doing to her sort of baseline income.
Nice. Just getting started too, man. So much potential in what you guys are doing. And yeah,
Yeah,
man,
I
it's
mean,
good.
I was gonna say like we're in the middle of the summer, so this is a slow time for bookings for schools and things like that. So like what do I think the fall and the winter and the spring are going to look like? I think it's going to be way more revenue, it's way more events because we did so much work in the spring and early summer that now that these schools are coming back online, a lot of these organizations are looking at their fall events, their winter events. Like it is a long sales cycle. I think that's one of the things people have to really come to face with. Like the work you put in March, April, May, it may not pay off until September, October. But then the work you put in June and July, that's going to pay off in December, January, February, March as well. And the more, as we said, stuff that pipeline, the better chances you are of being busy 12 months a year.
Yeah, and again, Connor, it goes back to the point too. I mean, you know, how many opportunities as well will close, 6 months from now that you initially talked to 3 months ago because you're staying up with them, you're following up with them. Hey, this sounds really interesting, but not now. I mean, how many of those are there? A lot. You
Right.
know what I mean? Or, gigs that just fell through a month or two ago. Boom, they're in the CRM. Like it's not only the process to generate new leads, one of the big processes and systems is what does your long-term nurturance pipeline and process look like
Yes.
to stay up
Yep.
with these people and stay following up. And Connor gets a notification in 3 months. Oh, I forgot. That's a great opportunity. Oh, yeah, that's ping time to go reach out to them and hit them. So, yeah, man, it's awesome. And, again, I want to say we tell everyone it's the process works, the systems works, but you got to work the process. You got to work the system. And from
Yeah.
day one, you guys have been doing that. You've seen as well, sometimes we hit the messaging right away. Sometimes it takes some tweaking and some optimizing and
Yeah.
some refining to really massage it and get it right. But you guys have been in here working the process and you're reaping the rewards of it now and will continue to do so and getting Atia's message out there to the world and the people that need it.
Yeah. If you're an existing speaker and you're already doing this, but you can do more, this process is perfect because you're going to scale, you're going to grow, you're going to become more efficient. If you are hoping to get into speaking, you're going to start doing it the most efficient way with you guys at the start, right? Like I wasn't efficient at the beginning with Atia and we weren't efficient as a group, but we have become more efficient and we've grown because of that. If you're just starting off as a speaker, they're gonna, Joe and Aaron, they're gonna teach you the right way to do this from the very beginning so that you don't have that sort of like slower growth. I think you're the growth chart is way up. It's going to be more vertical as opposed to horizontal
Yeah.
because the process works if you do it the correct way.
I love it, man. I love it. Connor, thank you so much, man. Appreciate the time. It's been awesome working with you and Atia and the whole team, and especially someone like Atia getting her message out there that is very,
Yeah.
very important out there to the world. So thank you for the time, Connor. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Keep it up. Thank you guys so much, and we'll chat with you soon.
Thank you.